Hi everyone, bonjour à tous. Yes, I will try to explain different topics in 1 hour, so I don't think I will be able to explain all the processes that we can have in finance and SAP Public Cloud. I will try to show you how to process a scope item. Today I will show you a scope item called Account Payable in S/4HANA Public Cloud. I don't think in 1 hour we'll have the time to assess all the flow. I only introduce some concepts in Public Cloud, so do not hesitate to post your question. I hope that everybody are in measure to understand English. So I will introduce to you the first information when we start in S/4HANA. I will talk to you scope item. So when we are in SAP, S/4HANA in Public Cloud or in S/4HANA on-prem or in private cloud, we work with the scope item. In the scope item, we have some information about the process flow, the tester script. We have some task tutorial to understand the process. If I take, for example, the best practice account payable, I use my version, for example, for France, S/4HANA Public Cloud. I've got also the different language, but when I select the language, all the detail in the language, all the detail are still in English. I've got just the information about the overview, the country, region, relevant, the detail. And the scope item, account payable, I've got an overview, the key process flow. I think you have already seen the process flow. Process flow explains step by step how to start and finish a process. Sometimes I will have a character that he indicate to me that there are another scope item. I've got also this scope item if I want to process cash operation. Hello, Elodie, Samir, Dolly. Si vous avez des questions, je réponds aussi en français. J'espère que ça va aller en anglais. C'est aussi un bon exercice pour chacun. So I will continue to English. I go back in a scope item. I have some access, real access to SAP in public cloud, in private, or in on-prem. So it's very simple to start to SAP with the scope item. So you have different information, for example, to start in the finance, to discover the finance, but don't worry, start by scope item. For example, I want to be an expert or a senior or beginner on public cloud. I go to the rapid.sap.com, rapid.sap.com. Right now you are a new version because it's web mouse. So I want to discover the finance in SAP. I got SAP Best Practices for S4. And I want to know everything about finance. I just have to open different group, accounting and finance close, financial close, advanced accounting finance close, financial operation. So I just have to select, open scope item, and I just have to discover each scope item. So if we start by G60, so as you can see, there is a lot of scope item available in the system to be expert on finance. So if I reopen a scope item, I've got all the time the same things. I've got the prerequisite, system access, the role that you need, business condition. When I say the business condition, for example, you need to have a supplier with the financial view. You need to have a material. You need to have a cost center. You need to have a profit center. Wait a minute, I just have to open the door. I'm back, sorry. Bonjour monsieur, donnez-vous cette formation en fait. You are able to log in French, log in English, and to follow. It's easy to understand, really to understand how to process all the scope item in English with all the information. So for example, if I start with the scope item, I need some information, for example, the business partner. I follow the process. I check in my scope item. I've got all the information. I've got the purpose of maintain business partner. Vendor master record are used both accounting component and purchasing component. As you know, in a business partner, you have a part of supply and part of invoicing. So I've got all the time the information about what to do. So I've got, and then I just have to follow the process. For example, log on the SAP Fiori Launchpad as Account Payable accountant. And right now, for example, access the SAP Fiori app. I just have, okay, open, maintain business partner. Okay, I just have to do it. I go to S4HANA Public Cloud. As you can see, I've got my home, I've got a different page. And in my page, in my space, I've got some information about which application I can use by process. I can build myself all my space with all the application I need to process, for example, my scope item. So I'm completely able to build a space named Account Payable with all the app required to process the Account Payable. So right now, for example, I select apps. I just have to put in the search field the application that I want to process to start my, I don't know if you have already been a screen Fiori. We don't have to use transaction, we used application. That is an equivalent. For example, I want to use the application that can be used in the SAP GUI. In SAP GUI, you have the transaction called BP for business partner. In Fiori, we have two applications, maintain business partner, and the other one is manage business partner. If you need to know the equivalent between SAP GUI and Fiori, you just have to go to the Fiori apps library, know the equivalent. For example, I know the application where I know transaction to maintain business partner. Okay, I enter the name of the transaction that I know, business partner. Okay, SAP offer me different option with. I do it, for example, with another transaction perhaps you used in MT01. Then SAP tell me to use manage supplier master data. We have a specialized application in SAP, for example. I can use the general application maintain business partner, but I can use, I want to limit my access only to suppliers, the application manage supplier master data. So I go back to Fiori. Fiori is exactly the same thing, for example, in the GUI system. You have this menu with space, page, a menu with all the application that a user used to process a flow in SAP. So the main difference with a SAP GUI that we have in SAP Public Cloud, very simple customizing. So I will introduce later some customizing point in finance for SAP Public Cloud. So I want to start with the finance. So first of all, I need a supplier with the view finance. So I execute the application maintain business partner. Okay, I've got the application. I just have to click on the application. In Fiori, we have two kinds of application. The application we have in a web GUI, that is because SAP has not finished to completely move the transaction into Fiori. So that we have exactly the same configuration that in a GUI. So I want to display all the suppliers that we have in the system. So business partner, person, organization, group. So business partner, supplier, I just have to click on start. Okay. I've got all my supplier. Okay. I create obviously a supplier, but I will show you what you need to start the process. I select my supplier. And if I want to start in the finance process, because start the finance process, I want, for example, to create a simple invoice without purchase order. So I need my supplier as the view finance. So in Fiori, a web GUI or in a GUI, we can use a transaction called FT01. So that is exactly the same things. In Fiori, for HANA, we have only one application. So in a GUI, we have FK01, MT01, FT01, etc. Only one in Fiori. Do not hesitate if you have any question about the process. So I select display in BP role. Okay, the first information I need to have this supplier financial accounting. So business partner, BP role supplier with financial accounting. So I need it if I want to process in my scope item. System explain, okay, maintain business partner, okay, I made it. Business partner, okay, this one, I display organization, okay, display in BP role, supplier financial accounting. Okay. Then the system display organization. Okay. Switch between display and change. Okay. I respect exactly what the system asked me. So I click on company code. Okay. I display right now the information about my supplier for the company KPC. This is my company. So right now I want to change some information. I just have to click on switch between display and change. Click on. Okay. Right now, I'm able to change some different thing in my supplier. So, interest indicator, vendor correspondence, I need to complete some information. So, if I have a look, I just have to use the scrolling bar. Okay, I've got a mandatory field symbolized by a red star. Okay, I check all the information. Interest indicator, for example, if I want to complete the interest indicators as requested by the system, okay, I respect. the system tells me to complete the interest indicator for 01. Okay. And then to vendor correspondence. Okay. Select the information. I check that all the fields required. I click on vendor payment transaction. Okay, I check term of payment, payment method. I've got all the information to process after all the financial process. Okay, I consider my supplier is complete. Right now, we can start. So, if I have a look to the account payable process in finance, I want to be sure that you are able to process all the flow. We start simple flow. Create an invoice entry without purchase order. So I want to create a simple invoice to be measured, for example, to get all the finance process just up to pay my supplier. So right now, invoice entry. It's always the same thing. I just have to read all the steps provided by SAP. That is a script test. Okay. Create supplier invoice. Always the same thing. I take it. I'm going on SAP. I just provide to SAP the name of the app that I want to process, create supplier invoice. So I think that the people that know SAP GUI, I think you can see that is user-friendly. I think you can compare with the application, with the transaction MIRO. So I think it's completely different for a user to work in Fiori. It's better. I think I love Fiori. So I've got always the same thing. I lost anything in Fiori. For example, in MIRO, you have got invoice, credit memo, subsequent TB, subsequent credit. You have all the same thing in Fiori. But if you prefer in Fiori to use the whole transaction, you are able to do it. For example, I just have to enter the name of transaction that I used in the system, and I've got create supplier invoice advanced. So if I show you, I select exactly the same thing. As you can see, it's not so user-friendly. So it's exactly the same thing. I can create supplier invoice with the full Fiori, where I can able to create supplier invoice advanced web GUI. When I talk to web GUI, that is the same thing that the transaction in the GUI system. So I go back into create supplier invoice. As you can see, I'm not necessary to use, for example, /n/o in a Fiori. I just have to enter the name of the application that I want to process, create supplier invoice. So I just have to close just have a look if you have any question. So I select, okay, I want to make an invoice without purchase order. I've got, okay, invoice. I select my company code. I enter the amount. I just have to, okay, I check the information, okay, an invoice, it's right one. Invoicing party. I've created previously my supplier, the company code. I think that is the main difference because we don't have the same system. For example, I work in the public cloud KPC company. So I'm able to this presentation KPC. So I select the information, the invoice date. I receive the invoice from my supplier today. I enter the gross amount. I enter this amount. All the monetary field, red star. For example, Best. Two options. I can enter, for example, the number, but for example, if I know the name of the supplier, that is exactly the same thing. It's really good to have this kind of option for all the you enter, and automatically the system offers to you the information. So my supplier, sorry, copy past, for example, 1, 2, 3, okay, 1, 2, 3, this is my supplier. Okay, I've always the same thing into, for example, I've got some error message or I've got some warning message. I just have to go here. Okay, for the moment, the system say no tax confound or balance not zero. Okay. As we are in a case without purchase order, we don't have to go to purchasing document references. I'm going on directly on GL account items. That is the equivalent of the application, always the same things. We need to listen to the transaction code that we can use in GUI and the new application or the application in Fiori. So GL account item. I just have to click on add. Okay. It's always the same things. I follow my scope item. In the GL account item, choose add. Okay, I proceed. Debit ready. I choose debit, and I need to add the GL account. Okay, I use the match code. I enter my GL account. Okay, payroll benefit. I select one. I enter the amount. Okay. If I want to show detail, for example, to add the cost center, I click on show detail. I've got more information about, for example, the account assignment. In this case, I want to add a cost center. I click on match code and I select, for example, the cost center that I create previously. I will show you also how to create easily some master data in finance. I click on cost center, right things. I want to check because I've got always an error message. Click on check. Okay, invoice was successfully checked. I can park, I can hold, I can post, I can simulate. I simulate. I've got the same thing, for example, in MIRO. I've got the account type, my GL account. We work on the US GAAP. Not EFS. Just have a look if we have. Screen is not moving. Okay, we try to share all my screen. I think it would be better. Oh. Okay. So I go back. I simulate my result. Everything seems to be okay. It's good. I can save my invoice. Right now, I've got my supplier invoice. I'm able to display my supplier invoice. I just have to click on and I'm able to display the supplier invoice and the document flow that we have in SAP. As you can see, it's always the same thing. It's really user-friendly, and I display all the information that I need. Okay, if everything is okay, I click on reverse to cancel my supplier invoice, or if I want to display my journal entry, I just have to click on journal entries. So I got my supplier. I can create simply an invoice in the system. Can display easily also in Fiori, which is different from the SAP B. As you can see, always the same thing. The work has been made in Discover for user. How to discover easily I've got my invoice. Okay, right now. I've got my journal entry. Okay, free for payment. So my next step is to proceed the payment. Automatic payment or manual payment. I will show you too how to proceed with the manual payment. I want to go back to my home. I just click on SAP. Okay. So if I continue to process, okay, GL account, I enter the information. So for example, when the system says if the general ledger account is tax relevant in the taxation until tax date, I want to display my GL account into SAP. Always the same things. I don't know Fiori. I want to have more information about the application. For example, I am an expert in SAP GUI. I know that we can manage a GL account with the transaction FS00. I click on OK. SAP offer me, okay, you can use the application display chart of account. I just have to click on Fiori Lighthouse apps. Okay, manage chart of account. Okay, I select my version. I don't work in S4HANA. I am on S4HANA Public Cloud. Okay, S4HANA 2302. And I've got all the detail about this application. I've got also the information about the scope item. Okay, I can use this application manage chart of account in the scope item accounting and financial clause. Okay, when I've got this information, I just have to click on and the system open directly the scope item G58. So I'm able to proceed exactly to the, okay, I'm logged on. To download the script of the test, I'm logged on in SAP and I proceed. So I create my invoice. Okay, I'm still in scope item. I just want to display the information. So I just have to write the same things. Okay, so I have also these features in Fiori. For example, I want to display some information about my GL account. I just have to enter for example, this one. I click on search. That will take some time to display the information. Okay, so if SAP, like Google, finds some information about this GL account, I got this information like Google. So Google can use the application to display my GL account, or I just have to enter my GL account, my profit center, my cost center, my business partner, my financial accounting, my purchase order. And automatically I will have a sum up with all the information and application to display, to change this. So GL account. I just have to select and automatically I'm able to display the information about my GL account master data. Look if I have any question. Okay, I continue. So I can enter the information in my search field, or I can use directly the name of the application that I want to use. Yes, the SAP.com will disappear, deprecated, and will be replaced by SAP Signature. In English or in French, English. I'm able to proceed exactly to the same thing, version, SAP Public Cloud, and I find all the information about how to create, for example, a new GL account. This is my GL account with the different translation and all the information, and in particular, the company code. Okay, this account is assigned to 7